Good morning, all. Thanks for joining. I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
Right. So, do you have any questions in variables? No questions, right? Thank you. So, today I'm going to talk about other important feature in Ansible, Ansible roles. Okay, Ansible roles, directory, one minute. So, today we are going to learn Ansible roles, directory structure. This is very, very important. So most of the people we are understanding when we are writing the AML file, only the AML file we are creating in the project file, project file, and we are executing, right? But AML files are creating in a different way. So first we need to understand the Ansible roles and the directory structure. Then only you can clearly understand where you can create AML file. So whenever you're creating a new roles, okay, the Ansible role directory structure will be following some directory structure manner. So how the directory structure will be displayed? I'll show you how the directory structure will be displaying that. So first of all, we need to understand what are the default folders in the Ansible roles directory structure. So the default folder. What is the default folder? So there is a location called defaults, okay, defaults / main.yml. So the default / main YML is a configuration file that you defined a default values of variables, whatever the role you are using in your Ansible host server. So default / main dot, not mail, it is a mail. It is a main, okay? Main.yaml file is a configuration file that you can use to define a default values. Okay, default values for variables. Yesterday we have seen, right, how to set up the variables and all that you know very well. So it will allow us to centralize the management of default values of the variables of the Ansible role directory. So whatever the default variable values if you want to give, okay. So this is a file, it's a centralized management. It's a centralized management. You keep all the default values, you'll keep it here. Okay. All the default values, we will keep it here. Any special variables, I already explained yesterday. that you can keep separately based on your requirement. Okay. The variables are different names we are calling. Okay. That already explained in the variable section. So like special variables, okay, inventory variables, host variables, group variables, fact and local facts variables, connection variables. So yesterday I was not explain about the default variable structure. Okay, because this is something beyond that, some important we are giving in the interview, even in the real-time environment also. That's why we are taking a separate class. The default values are always vulnerable. Okay. So guys, what is meaning of vulnerable? Any idea? What is meaning of vulnerable?
It can be changed or whatever you can call it. It's not nothing like a specific one standards or something. Anybody can change or
Mhm.
It's a harm or damage.
Exactly, that's a meaning. Okay. So vulnerable means it's get ready to spoil, it's ready to get damage, it's ready to get harm. Understood? So example, we are not eating food, okay, for few days. Our body is ready for to sick. So that means our body is vulnerable. You understand what is the meaning of vulnerable? So we are not eating for few days. We don't have energy, and due to that, some disease will easily attack. So our body is a vulnerable item. Vulnerable item. So that means is ready to get affect the change. So now, can you please tell me what is the vulnerable for the default variables? Why we are called as vulnerable here? So why we are mentioning the vulnerable, the meaning here means, so whatever the changes we're doing immediately get affected. Because the change can lot of dependencies, and depending on the policies, whoever executing the user, those changes will be directly applying on the default values. So that's why we are mentioning that vulnerable. So here the meaning the vulnerable is not a sick, or maybe it's ready to get effect. Okay. So we have a solution allows one file to change all the values. There's only one file we can change on all values. So I can show you Ansible default main.yml file. You can check this. Is this clear? So tasks, handlers, library, files, templates, vars, defaults, meta. So main.yml, main.ml, all the files are updated here. So if you are looking the structure in the system, you'll get here. If you get a role for the service, like a tree nginx underscore role, you'll get like this. You'll get like this. You will get like this. So wherever you are creating, so the complete structure will be displaying here. The main AML file is sitting on the defaults location. Okay. So based on our requirement, wherever in whichever the task, whichever the uh, area we are calling main.aml, main.aml, main.aml. So that's a central configuration file. You can give the values. You can see this. So now we can understand the detailed information about this file today. So now we will understand the individual directory in the Ansible roles directory structure. Each directory structure in the structure serves the different purpose. Okay, we will discuss now. So now we understand what is the use of the default folder. What is the use of default folder? The default folder is a main configuration file that you can use to define the default values of the variable used in your role. It will allow the centralized management of default values in variables of your role in your project. The default values are always vulnerable because of they change a lot of dependencies on the needs. So we have a solutions allow one file to change all the values. So respective of any area you want to change, you can come to the main.aml file, you can change the settings. Okay. The next one, what is a handler? Okay, before go to handler, we'll go for files. What is the files? The next one is the files folder. So the files folder means this folder all extract files that are required to archive the rollback task. Example, sometimes you will be downloading some software packages from internet. Yeah. Huh? So after you downloading some temporary location, you will keep it that. After that, you will be unzip that file. So once unzip, the complete the file structure will be open, and the respective of software files will be stored on a separate folder under subfolder based on the a vendor how the software is packaged. So now this files folder will help us to extract the files are required to archive the role task. So what are the role tasks we are assigned to unzip the files, the particular unzipping files, it will look for folder to store the files. So then only you can install the particular software in any of the server. Otherwise, no. If you're not configuring the files folder, unzipping is very difficult. Next step. These files usually get dispatched to remote host. Exactly. Suppose So guys, Ansible host or Ansible controller, same. Suppose these are the nodes. That means servers. Based on that AML file here running, the playbook AML file is running, right? We are mentioning some task here. There is some software package is available in internet. We need to get download each node will be unzip that file, copying to the some location, then it will install. So now the files folder will help us to dispatch those files into the remote host. Okay, and you can play the particular certain task. That's the purpose we are using it. So these files are usually get dispatched to remote host as part of a certain task. What is that certain task means? To unzip the zipped concept, the file, and what are the files? Maybe it's a software files package it will install in the next task. Maybe if it's a configuration files, we will be copying to a specific directory on the remote host, then you can get it. So normally uh, in uh, in web server, so we have a default location is there. There we can copying that web configuration files, and web page will be working. You know, right? So that's a best example for you. So what are the tasks we can do that? We can do some changes. We can copy, extract, compress on the remote host. We will use the files folder structure. So what are the activities we can do? Any variable to, you can do changes, copy, extract, compressed. So these are the tasks we can execute. Next, the handlers folder. So where is the handler folder will be located? So the location like this, handlers / main.yaml file. So the name itself is telling that handling some task. Suppose we have installed web server. We have installed Nginx server. Okay, in this scenario, I'm informing that, hey, particular time, once it is reached, you please restart the Nginx service, a web service. So handlers will take care of the particular task. When you'll define the handlers, you can inform that you can restart the web server, Apache Tomcat, you can restart the Nginx server like this. And next task is the handlers. Mainly it is used to service management to apply configuration changes performed by another task. So I told you, no, so some time is reached during the time and we need to execute this work. So the configuration management will apply. Okay, hey, I want to reboot now. So the time is over. Any other question? What is the next file? Meta folder. So meta folder structure is meta / main.yaml. So these folders contains role metadata, which includes the information about authors, license information, compatibilities, and dependencies. This all information we will hold on the meta folder. So meta folder sits on the meta / main.yaml. So which holds the information about authors. So who creating this, who's managing it, author names. Licenses to run this particular job, any external licenses we need to buy that, any in-house application license, either vendor-based licenses, the license terms and conditions, compatibilities, so which versions only compatible to run these services and all, and dependencies. Before installing this, any other services we required, and we need to call the dependencies, and a dependency separate folder we will create, and the required software package can be downloaded. Configuration settings can be uploaded. So these are the main jobs you'll be taking care. Any other question about meta folder? Next, so after the meta, readme. So in readme, there is no YAML file will be there for your information. And readme file is nothing but it's a notepad file. You can clearly mention some theoretical information about the project. You can clearly explain, okay, step by step in a notepad how you're writing a story. Similar kind of story you can write in the readme.md file. It's a notepad file. So in readme is not a directory, it's a file. It's a notepad file. It's a text file. So how can I identify that's a text or directory? So when you're list the roles in this tree, you can find out some color code. If that is a color code is something different in a white, so that will be a file. If any color code like this, with a bold letters, it's a directory or folder. Okay. So next, tasks. Okay, tasks. The tasks folder. The task folder. Similar way, tasks / main.yaml file. So this is the main location. So you will be spend most of your time to configure your steps. Okay, whatever the job you are performing on your activity, 90% of the time when we are writing a playbook, the 90% of the job you will be updating your information in this section only. It's a very important. So you need to know very clear about the project, what's the purpose you are using, what is the workflow. So the workflow, the task can be assigned here. So that means this is a main YAML file. This is a main YAML file in the project. So what are the elements you are declaring? the role will take from here only. You can do the task. There's a lot of tasks we created, right? So all the task by task, you can declare and you can achieve your role. Even yesterday, the tasks, I can go with some kind of a tag method also explained it. Okay? With the tag method also explain it. So anybody have any questions? Again, in this section, tasks. No questions? Thank you. So any other questions in the task folder? So one more point here, any action can be performed and executed in Ansible. So here, this is the file where you can run. So next, templates. Guys, if you are not understanding the structure, okay, normally this topic we will be discussing in the day one only. But if I'm explaining that, definitely you'll forget. At least you have some idea. Now I'm explaining here. Okay, we have already seen multiple playbooks we created. So at least it will recall the information. Okay, in that area I created some meta folder. In that area I created handlers. In that area I created a default file. In this area I created task. You have some idea, right? So that's why I'm explaining it. So whenever you're creating your Ansible playbook, this is an anatomy. Ansible playbook anatomy, this is a structure. If you're not following this structure, definitely you're not able to create a playbook. It will not be order. So this is the order you need to create it. The template folder. The next one is template folder. So here there is no AML file. Okay. Honestly, here there is no AML file. So this folder contains the template files, which is used by the role to create actual configuration file. The actual configuration file creating the templates will be stored here. Okay. So these templates are they deployed, okay, by the role on the remote host. What are the templates is there? It will be deployed by the role, what are the role you have, and it will be on the remote host, the remote servers. Any other question? So if you go to Google, Ansible, templates, Jinjas 2 example. So there are Jinjas 2 template engine, the scripts will be available in Ansible location. So these templates will be deploying on the remote host. So now can open it here and you can check this. What is a Jinjas 2? Okay. This is a Jinjas 2, the playbook. This is a default templates will be available. You can use it. So next, after that, we have a test folder. A test folder. What is meaning of test folder? This test folder contains the test environment with an environment inventory files, the playbook script to test a role. So example, before going to a production environment, we will try to test, right? The test configuration information will be available. So the folder contains a test environment with an inventory file. With inventory file means only the testing environment. So this is a primary used when at testing the role automatically continuous integration system such as Jenkins, Travis, Circle CI. So these are the services. Suppose if we are deploying application on the server in the continuous integration, definitely be problem, right? So in this situation, we will be using the test folder. Any other question? So finally, we have a vars folder. So in this folder, variables are get stored. Usually, it is used to permanent variables. It does not require any changes between the environment. If any variables you want to fix the information, we will be stored our variable information permanently on the variables folder. We are not frequently changing. One-time configuration or maybe in the next version, any changes as required, we will be creating it. Any other question? So very important question, where you can define or configure Ansible roles. So roles can be stored in a default location from easy to we can find out it. So we have a 3 different locations will be there. For highest precedence, highest precedence, highest precedence is ./roles after highest precedence this is a location. Next after next means maybe if this is a precedence, maybe if after that one more value is there /etc Ansible roles. These are the 3 locations where you can configure the Ansible roles. The highest precedence is this is a location. What do you mean that a ./roles? Anybody can tell me? ./roles means what?
So root one.
No, wrong. And what situation we will use dot, guys? In Linux, okay. In what situation we will use a dot? Current directory.
Okay.
Everything is you're forgetting, brother. Okay. Please recollect all the information. Almost we are ending of the batch. So about this course. So now you're forgetting all these things. How can you performing in interviews? Current directory. Okay. Current directory is always highest preference. Even 2 days back also I explained it. With the commands I explained everything, the values, how it will be getting information. I explained, right?
Yeah.
Ansible configuration file. You remember?
Yeah. Correct.
We discussed, right? A equal to 10, B equal to 100, A equal to 101. We discussed, right? This is a one. The similar concept only. Okay. So please be prepared. Okay. Almost all the topics, all the features we explained it. So probably any missing items I will cover by tomorrow. Otherwise, we'll directly go to the project. Okay. I'm copying this information on the chat. Can you please copy to your local system? You can please check. Any other questions? No? Thank you all. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.